Since 2022, the Black Sea has become a fiercely contested battleground, where every radar blip and dark ripple could signal disaster for Europe. But recently, NASA satellites detected something stranger than any military maneuver. Fire lines blazing on the open water near Snake Island. Far from oil rigs or shipping lanes, these flames defy explanation. Large enough to be captured from space, the fires appear as eerie clusters scattered across one of the world's most militarized seas. They ignited without warning in waters where Russia and Ukraine have fought for every inch. Yet neither Moscow nor Kyiv have acknowledged their presence. As theories spiral in the silence, some claim these are marks of a weapon previously unseen, while others whisper of covert operations or secret raids on underwater gas deposits. With every satellite pass, the hotspots multiply, forming a pattern that's unsettling, deliberate, and impossible to ignore. The world is watching, but no one knows what they're looking at, or what comes next. The Black Sea sits at the heart of one of the world's most contested regions. 6 countries share its coastline, and it's essential for Ukraine, Russia, and Turkey. It links Eastern Europe to global trade routes through the narrow Bosphorus Strait, controlled by Turkey, and into the Mediterranean. This passage carries enormous volumes of oil, grain, and other essentials daily, including roughly 10% of the world's seaborne oil. For Russia, it's the only way to maintain access to warm waters year-round. For Ukraine, it's a lifeline to European markets. Losing even partial control of the Black Sea would cut off critical resources and leave these nations vulnerable to isolation or economic chokeholds. Look beneath the Black Sea, and you'll find staggering amounts of energy. An estimated 2 trillion cubic meters of gas and 10 billion barrels of oil. Ukraine used to pull thousands of barrels daily from these reserves, especially in the northwestern sector. But the war changed that. Russia took over some of Ukraine's rigs that are now armed outposts. For Ukraine, this wasn't just an economic hit. It's about survival and energy independence. For Russia, these platforms mean fuel and control. A lookout, eyes on every boat or ship that crosses their waters. Then there's Snake Island, just a speck, 35 kilometers off Ukraine's coast. But Russia took it in early 2022, grabbing a foothold on shipping lanes nearby. Ukraine's troops there refused to surrender, defying the odds and turning this bare island into a rallying cry for resistance. Yet there's more to it than defiance. Whoever owns Snake Island gets a rare vantage point over the waters, a place from which to see, and maybe control, everything that matters in this part of the Black Sea. The Black Sea is, in short, a metaphorical powder keg as Ukraine and Russia clash for control. But it also might prove to be a literal powder keg as strange anomalies rise, making the complicated situation in these waters even more bizarre and volatile. Russia might have one of the biggest navies in the world, but holding on to the Black Sea has turned out to be harder than they'd probably imagined. With a fraction of that power, Ukraine has had to get inventive. And it has, through naval drones. These little unmanned boats have thrown Russia off balance, shifting the rules of the game in ways no one saw coming. In October 2022, Ukraine pulled off a bold move that shocked almost everyone watching. A swarm of drones went straight for Russia's prized Black Sea fleet, right at their base in Sevastopol. Those drones pushed through defenses and struck a flagship vessel, rattling the Russians and military analysts alike. The Russians thought the fleet was safe, protected by layer upon layer of defenses. They were proven wrong in a way that no one could ignore. Yet these drones, small, relatively inexpensive, but lethal, found their way through. The message was clear. Ukraine's military might not match Russia's size, but it was willing and able to strike where it hurt. Since then, Ukraine has launched multiple attacks, targeting critical Russian vessels and infrastructure. Just months after the Sevastopol assault, Ukrainian naval drones struck again, this time hitting supply ships and auxiliary vessels vital for Russian logistics. For the Russian Navy, the message was stark. Every ship, every supply run, and every base in the Black Sea was vulnerable. This wasn't something Russia saw coming. Now they're desperately throwing up more defenses and resources into securing a sea that, on paper, should have been under their control a long time ago. In early November 2024, something strange happened in the Black Sea. NASA's Fire Information for Resource Management System, or FIRM's satellite imagery, started capturing clusters of fires in the waters near Snake Island, one of the Black Sea's most contested territories. These fires weren't near oil or gas platforms, nor appeared to be connected to any known vessel traffic. As reports emerged, speculation exploded. What could be burning in the open sea, far from any apparent source of fuel? And why were these fires concentrated in an area fraught with military tension? According to the satellite images analyzed by firms, the fires appeared in patterns, almost in lines, dotting the Black Sea's surface near Ukraine's recently recaptured waters. NASA's system, usually deployed to track forest fires and other large-scale blazes, detected what seemed to be significant visible heat signatures on the open water. The images quickly attracted attention from media outlets, independent analysts, defense specialists, and observers of the Ukraine-Russia conflict. These were not small, isolated flames, but intense enough to be picked up by satellite technology designed to track fires from thousands of miles above the Earth's atmosphere. Newsweek, one of the first major outlets to report on the phenomenon, highlighted that these fires were located in areas without known gas or oil platforms or other facilities that could otherwise explain such intense heat signatures. The fires appeared in unexpected clusters, far from usual naval routes, ruling out the likelihood of accidental or vessel-related incidents. Some experts have pointed out that these unusual locations hint at something more deliberate, perhaps even covert. The Crimean Wind Monitoring Group, known for its close tracking of regional incidents, has also made some unsettling reports. On November 2nd and 3rd, they documented new marks near Snake Island, fires that seemed to ignite out of the blue and burn for hours on end. One theory gaining traction suggests these fires could be the scars of a fresh kind of naval warfare. Ukraine has already shown the world it's not afraid to push boundaries, using maritime drones to hit Russian forces where it hurts. Some believe these latest blazes might be the work of another wave of Ukrainian drones aimed at Russian vessels and installations. The notion of drones capable of causing intense, isolated fires at sea is not as far-fetched as it might initially appear. Past drone strikes on Russian assets in the Black Sea have caused considerable damage to Russian capital ships, even causing them to burn for several days. However, questions remain. Why these ships would be operating outside regular naval routes, and how Ukraine might have reached them in such a remote location, casts doubt on the entire theory. Another, though less widely favored theory, suggests these fires might be linked to a new experimental weapon. In the Black Sea, technological advances seem to roll out as quickly as the tides since the war started. It wouldn't be surprising if either Ukraine or Russia were testing some new device, capable of generating intense heat and sudden bursts of flame. The Black Sea itself, rich in natural resources, could provide yet another explanation. With some of the world's largest natural gas deposits, the region may have been ignited by more than just conflict. Turkey's 2020 discovery of the Sakarya gas field revealed an estimated 320 billion cubic meters of natural gas, with later findings further increasing that estimate. Some analysts suggest that surface conflict may have triggered gas pockets, leading to the observed fires. Alternatively, previously unknown or clandestine pipelines might crisscross the seabed, and an accidental or deliberate rupture could ignite hotspots detectable by NASA, though this scenario is considered unlikely. The silence from both Ukraine and Russia only adds to the mystery. Neither side has addressed the fires directly, leaving a lot of room for speculation that they might be deliberately keeping things under wraps, a familiar tactic in this region, where secrets can be as valuable as weapons. One thing is certain, the world is watching closely. Every new report, every sighting, adds a layer to the puzzle. For now, the fires remain an unsettling enigma, flickering signs of chaos in one of the planet's most fiercely contested waters.